Hi, everybody. So, within the last 2 days alone, yesterday and today, there have been three papers that are revolutionary with regards towards AI when you look at them even individually. Even if one of these papers had come out, I'd say that it was a significant breakthrough and it would be a good week for AI and a good day for AI. But the fact that three of these papers have come out within the last 2 days makes this like a good year for AI just based off of these three papers to me. So breaking them down, first I want to start off with the what I think is actually the least revolutionary one, which is talking about Lima. And so it's Lima bean. I think that's how I'm pronouncing it right. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. That's how I'll pronounce it, is Lima. And then so because I'd assume that if it was Lima, it would have like the double L like llama. That's my assumption. So Lima to me is what it will be. So Lima is the LLM model that is put out yesterday, and this paper came out yesterday by Facebook and their team. And so I think the important thing to look at with regards towards Lima is the benchmarks, and we can scroll down. And so when you look at these papers, some of them are really well. It depends on who writes the paper, but I think this paper's done very well. But we look at the benchmarks, and then like the first thing is to call out with Lima is that it is kind of like a bit overhyped, I think. So we can see that it's definitely like smoking Alpaca, and then also DaVinci. And then Bard, it like I would say it's better than Bard according to these tests. Like we can like say like, but it's like basically tying in a lot of, and like so it would be I think an argument to be made, and this is based off of Bard in April, right? So I think that this is pre the Palm 2 update. So Lima is going to get smoked by the Palm 2 update anyway. Just calling that out too. And then I mean it loses just flat out to GPT-4. Anybody that says that Lima is beating GPT-4 in any way, it's not. Like these numbers, like it's in a few categories on a few tests and a few times it beats GPT-4 is what they can claim. But as an overall consistent argument and a consistent claim, it is not beating GPT-4. Lima would not be stronger than GPT-4. But I would say that this would be a significant, in and of itself, despite those tests, just looking at Lima and the rest of this paper. And I'll link these papers in the description as well to this video. But overall, I would say that Lima is a good improvement, and then especially compared to Llama. So if Llama is where Facebook was starting, and then they get from Llama to Lima, that's huge because going back to those benchmarks again, it's smoking Alpaca, and then Alpaca is the generation after Llama, and then so Alpaca is significantly better than Llama, and then so if it's benchmarking and kind of like blowing Alpaca out of the water, then I would say that's significant. So with this out of the way, I think that this again is actually the least important breakthrough and significant breakthrough over the last 2 days. And then so now that we've talked about Lima, let's talk about what the open source community has done. So Lima is, if you're betting on the corporate world, you're betting on Meta, you're betting on Microsoft, OpenAI, this is what they're going to get. They're pumping out like Lima right now. What the open source community released today is GOAT, or yesterday. And then so let's go ahead and take a look at the same exact kind of paper for GOAT here. And then so again, every paper is going to be written out differently. And then because it's written out by different people. But so this is showing you essentially metrics here. And then maybe I scrolled too far down on this because I know where it should be. Yep. Cool. And then so what I want to highlight, and then they do this, and it's kind of in this tabular format, but the thing to highlight with this is very clearly, and I'm going to leave it on this chart as I talk about this, is this chart as opposed to the Lima chart very clearly and definitively shows that GOAT is beating GPT-4. And so there's a few things that I want to talk about here with GOAT. And again, I'll leave it here so you can go ahead and take all the time that you want and need to evaluate and look at these current benchmarks of GOAT compared to GPT-4. So first of all, you can see that this is GOAT version 7B, which means 7 billion parameters, which means that someone's going to build it out to probably 16 billion and then maybe even 33 billion. And then so what that something to highlight and show with that is that this is not the full potential of GOAT. This is GOAT as a little embryo, basically, would be the equivalent of it. And it's already beating GPT-4 on a performance basis. So that's number one. But number two, what's even more extravagant than that is that GOAT is beating GPT-4 in regards towards cost to train. So if you wanted to go with GOAT as opposed to GPT-4, for example, GOAT comes essentially trained out of the box. You could train GOAT with almost a personal graphics card. And on the next one, I'm going to show you how you could actually train GOAT with a personal graphics card. Your personal computer could train something, an LLM model that is going to outperform GPT-4. That is literally what the open source community has done. So again, if you had gone with sticking and going with what Meta is going to do and put out into the market, then you get Llama, which is there's no argument that Llama is even better than GPT-4. It's just not. Or the open source market, their comparison, what they put out instead is GOAT, which GOAT is not even finished. It's only at the 7 billion parameter format and is already beating GPT-4. I just think that's insane, and I'm going to say it again over and over again as much as I can. There's literally no reason for anyone to be banking on the corporate world in this instance any longer, at the point where the open source market is showing continuously that they're outperforming the market with products like GOAT. More importantly, if you don't want to just stand by GOAT, we can look at another paper that came out from the open source community literally today, which is a paper called QLoRa. And then QLoRa is essentially going over efficient fine-tuning of quantized LLMs. What exactly does that mean? Very specifically, they lay it out in the actual abstract as to exactly what this means. And then bottom line is that with QLoRa, you can train your own LLM model up to 13 billion parameters with a personal graphics card, or up to 33 billion parameters with a commercial graphics card or a server. Like literally, what this allows you to do is build your own essentially LLM model at home. It lays it out here, and if you open the paper and then you look at the broader impacts, they specifically acknowledge this. And then when you look at like the limitations and discussion, all of the limitations and discussion are around how fast this is advancing and how fast and quickly this technology is moving and progressing. And I just want to highlight that, and I want to first of all just go through and say how amazing this is overall. And to me, I talk about this one last because I think that this is even a bigger, QLoRa is going to be in the end an even bigger breakthrough than GOAT itself. Because what QLoRa allows you to do is, again, I can turn the personal computer that I'm making this video on right now into GOAT, into something that is better than GPT-4. Based off of this allows me to do it. That's what essentially the open source community, and by allowing this AI advancement to be what it is in the status quo. This is the type of advancement that you're getting, as opposed to what we see the corporate model. And I think it's interesting to highlight that, because the argument is always that the corporate model leads towards advancement. But in this instance, we can clearly see that that is very much not the case. This is a very clear highlight and rebuke of overall, and we see this is a consistent pattern now. And then so overall, I just want to highlight and end with this, that there's been 3 advancements over the last 2 days within AI that have essentially revolutionized AI again within the last 2 days. But more importantly, 2 of them, both GOAT and QLoRa, have come from the open source community itself, as opposed to what you get from the corporate community, which is Llama. And the corporate community wants to give you something that is slightly still less than, not quite as good as GPT-4, whereas the open source community is giving you GOAT that you can train on your personal computer. Thank you, everyone. If you like this type of content, please like and subscribe. Thank you very much.